Wow, this is still in town. I can't believe that. Hey, switch mics again. He's charged. Huh? Yeah, he's charged.
Hello? Almost hung myself. Is that the music?
No. Hold on, we're coming up on it.
Did you snag all the audio?
Everything except the Florida sheriff.
Told you, all the sheriffs and police chiefs are black. You notice that?
Not until you highlighted it. But
It's true.
if you highlight
I don't know how it is or why it is. Couldn't find TK Carter.
No, I could find the interview. I just haven't found the fight yet. The press conference. Just haven't been able to find any fights yet. Everything else though I got.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, 22nd day of July. Chris Burdick producing the broadcast as we get going on a busy Tuesday afternoon. Teresa Golder will join us at the bottom of the hour, our former federal magistrate judge. Hunter Biden, I did not see the entire interview. I only saw excerpts of it, and we used some of them yesterday. But I didn't catch the part about the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, the man with the nuclear codes, was on Ambien. This low character POS thinks he's defending his father, and really all he's doing is putting him in more jeopardy. The leader of the free world cannot be incapacitated. You are the president of the United States 24/7. Whether you're at Camp David, whether you're in Ukraine, if you're in Zimbabwe, whether you're taking a nap in Delaware, you're the leader of the free world. And nowhere under the description of the drugs that his physician prescribed to him, who, by the way, took the Fifth Amendment along with a number of Biden cohorts as to what was going on, nowhere did they report that he was on Ambien. God, it must be horrible to have a Fredo in your life, in your family. You know what I'm saying? Good, googly moogly. Jacksonville police officers are under investigation for beating the crap out of a 22-year-old black kid. I've got disdain for the police and for the idiot kid. Two things can be true. The police can be overzealous, and the idiot kid cannot comply. And I'm willing to bet every nickel I have. We just got paid, so I've got about $187 in my checking account. And I'd put all $187 on the fact that I'd bet that 22-year-old grew up fatherless. I'd be willing to bet that as sure as I'm sitting here. Because most fathers, you can take the music down now. Most fathers sit down, as mine did, July of 1978. I'll be 16 on August 3rd. It's my mother's 36th birthday 3 days before mine. So they're going to Hong Kong to celebrate her 36th birthday, which delves into a whole nother story, me taking the car that I wasn't supposed to drive while they were in Hong Kong. And I'm not getting into that. But called me into the bedroom. Now, if he called me into the bedroom and just had me stand there, it wasn't very serious. But if he said, come in here and have a seat, it was extremely serious. He'd sit at the top of his bed, I'd sit at the foot of the bed, and we would have our serious discussions. And he said, listen to me. When we get back, you're going to be able to drive. And it's important that you understand a couple of things. A, whenever a police officer stops you, make sure that both your hands are on the steering wheel. And I'm like, yeah. And he says, listen to me. I'm not messing around. Look at me. And I'm kind of like, yeah, Dad, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Secondly, they're going to ask you for your license, your registration, and your insurance. You tell the officer that your registration and your insurance is in the glove box. Before you reach for it, you tell him that. And then you go to the glove box and you hand it to him. And thirdly, if the officer tells you to get out of the car and stand on your head, you politely open your door and stand on your head. And if anything untoward happens to you, you tell me and we'll call Earl. Earl Williams was a friend of my dad. He was like our family lawyer, but he really wasn't. He was one of my dad's best friends and happened to be a lawyer. And anytime there was something funky in the family, and I think he did actually do some legal work for it. But the point is, I'm rambling. The point is, two things can be true. You can cause the police to act overzealous, but that doesn't excuse the police or the sheriffs in this situation in Jacksonville to act overzealous. Let me just give you a taste. We'll talk about this later, but let me give you a taste. So the kid is like, call your supervisor. No, I'm not getting out of the car. No, I'm not going to show you my license. They bust open the window like they love it. I'm sorry. I believe that. I just don't believe that cops want to go through a career where they have no confrontations. I think one of the reasons cops become cops is because they were either MPs in the military or they had some gun experience in the military and they want to take that to police work, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think they enjoy confrontation. I really do. I don't think they like being shot at, but I think when these traffic situations get funky and people get lippy, I think they love it. You can call me horrible human being. Donnie Youngblood can yell at me. Greg Terry can say I'm stupid, but I think they love it. So he breaks the window, and then after he breaks the window, he punches the kid in the face. Now tell me why. Tell me why. He breaks the window and he says, get out of the car, and take that with you. I added the editorial comment. And then they drag him out of the car. They get him on the cement. He's got dreadlocks. They grab him by the head, and they just bang his head along the cement about 3 or 4 times. Kid had a concussion. He had short memory loss. They broke out his teeth. And now he's got dun, dun, dun. Who do you think they retained as their attorney, Chris Burdick?
Oh, what's that guy's name?
That's right. That's right. That's right. The killer, Ben Crump, who's made a living representing, let me select my words carefully. God, I wish we could turn the camera when my girlfriend takes her walk and you guys can see what I stare at every time at 3:05. Absolutely stop the show. But anyway, Ben Crump, who's made an absolute living and become a national celebrity representing victims of police brutality. Let's just say that. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So we'll get into that a little bit later. And the DOJ is going to interview Ghislaine Maxwell. Why has this been delayed? Why wasn't this one of the first things they did? Doesn't she know something? And this Epstein thing just keeps going on and on and on. And now the president is using Barack Obama as a deflection. And as I predicted, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't have the goods on Obama. He just doesn't. I'll explain why it's absurd. And this isn't because he's black and I'm black. This isn't because I used to be a liberal Democrat. Look, the first thing that I try to do whenever I get in front of this thing is to be honest with you people. Because if you catch me lying, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm through. There's no other way to go. And we had folks involved in our management team that actually wanted me to be dishonest on a certain level. Well, they're no longer with us. And we have a new general manager. And this radio station is going in a completely different direction, up. And one of the things that we all now cherish is just telling the truth. And if you don't like me for that, then turn the channel. But the truth of the matter is, this new assessment that Obama did on Russian hoax was done in January of 2017, was done shortly before the inaugural. That's just the facts. You can look it up your damn self. And to call President Obama a treasonous traitor and Tulsi Gabbard, who's trying to get back in with Trump because she realizes her days are numbered and she's trying to make up with the boss. I knew she didn't have the goods. I counted on it. I told you yesterday, this better not be another Epstein. She better not be saying, I got him. Oops, I don't got him. You can't call somebody treasonous. You can't call somebody, accuse them of high crimes and misdemeanors and then not deliver the goods. We'll unpack that a little bit. And guess what happened last night? Did you see it? Did you see it? Damn, Skippy. And guess who damn near blew it? Did you see the end of the game? He came in and left a mess for who finally got the win or the save.
Save? I'm not sure. Dustin May got the win. Know that for a fact.
Yeah. Oh, he pitched really well. He came in after Shohei in the third, pitched all the way to the seventh, got in a little trouble. We got out of that. And then here comes Tanner Scott. And I would never wish an injury on any player. Maybe this is a good thing for Tanner. Give him a rest, get him healthy. Maybe he hasn't been healthy all season. You guys never know. We never know. You know, maybe in all the zeal of the money, he's making more money than a reliever in baseball. He's coming into a new club. Maybe his arm was bugging him the whole season and he just didn't want to say anything. He wanted to go out there and give 110%, be that guy. But that doesn't make sense because he did get hot in the middle of June. I even got on his bandwagon for a short period from like June 3rd to like the end of the month. He was one of the best relievers in baseball. So that doesn't make sense, but maybe this is a good thing for him. It's not a good thing for us because now that's one less pitcher, one less body in the bullpen. But we finally got a win against the Twins last night. Shohei looked good in 3 innings, gave up a leadoff home run, and I believe he became the second or third human being to give up a home run and then hit a monster drive to dead center field in the same inning. Only I think it's either 2 or 3 people. I know it's not more than 3. And James Outman had to take back a home run from Correa. What's Correa's first name? He's played for the Astros? Alex Correa? No, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, he hit a home run. Carlos Correa. He hit a home run, and Outman just reached up. If he hits it another foot, we're going to 10 innings because that would have tied the ball game. But Outman made a catch at the wall, took back the home run. Dodgers win. And what else is going on? We got a trade deal with the Philippines, and Ozzy Osbourne died at 76. You know, there were reporters actually saying people are stunned and oh my God, what a loss. Are you kidding? It's so weird how we act when people pass away. Like they're talking about Malcolm Jamal Warner and the legacy that he left as Theo Huxtable. Give me a break. He was a child actor who rode the coattails of Jay Sandridge, whose 2 kids I went to high school with. Jay Sandridge longtime director, started on the I Love Lucy show, did a lot of Andy Griffiths. If you watch at the end of the credits, he was the director at the first 3 seasons of the Cosby Show. Thad Mumford was an African-American writer that was part of the whole deal. The executive producers and Dr. Cosby. Those are the ones that created the legacy of the Cosby Show. And the Cosby Show has a long-lasting legacy. As I told you, I grew up asking my mother when I was about 12, 13 years old, how come everybody black on television is poor? And how come every female is a big fat black woman? Mom, you're not fat, and neither are none of your friends, especially Mrs. Jefferson. I said that in my head. I didn't say that to my mother. Mrs. Jefferson was hijacked. And she was, sorry, I'm just random. I smoked a joint for the show. No, I'm kidding. And she just couldn't really answer me. You know, she's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, Sanford and Son, he's a junk man. Good Times, they're in Cabrini Green. That's my mama. The guy's a barber. Not that there's anything wrong with a barber. Now you make tons of money as a barber. But I just didn't understand that. And then I said, and even the one guy who's rich, Mr. Jefferson, not Mrs. Jefferson's husband, the fictional Mrs. Jefferson, he's a buffoon. The one guy with money on television is a buffoon. And then came Cosby. And it created a whole new outlook on middle-class black America. That's the legacy. It's not. Malcolm Jamal Warner was a very fortunate young kid that rode the coattails of Bill Cosby. Let's be honest. Why do we lie and pump up people when they die? And Ozzy Osbourne, you know what the stunning part of Ozzy Osbourne's death is? The fact that he made it to 76. Are you kidding? Let's don't lie. It's amazing that man made it to 76. All the drugs and different things he's put into his body, and he damn near made it to 80. Should be that whole family should be thanking their lucky stars. But maybe I'm just a cynical, black-hearted old man. Let's get going. We're running late. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday. Teresa Golder will be here in just a couple of minutes. And unfortunately, when we come back, I'll tell you the story of Gabriela Rodriguez. KGT17 is reporting more about the dental assistant out at North Kern who was killed coming home to her southeast home and just getting the mail. There's been a major revelation from her son. We've got that audio, do we not?
Yes.
We will hear from Nathan Rodriguez when we come back. And we'll get into the Hunter Biden mess, the Jacksonville abuse, and the DOJ talking with Ghislaine Maxwell. You're listening on a Tuesday to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We stream live, kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1
No.
AM 1180 KERN.
Are you looking for a hospital that cherishes leaders in your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan
What you got?
Hospital, they provide
This
high-quality medical
is
detox,
for you to
psychiatric
write
services,
something
and
for
medical
Dave.
and surgical care. They
Oh,
accept
okay.
insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare,
Heartwarming
and
stuff.
Current
Right.
They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis.
Gino, I know everything begins with your incredible staff and your familial atmosphere.
I love what we have at Luigi's, and I love everybody that works there, and they're all like family, and then our customers are like family, so it's all one great place.
And Lynette, I know your passion is the delicatessen.
What I love about it is that when you have lunch in the restaurant, you can go next door into our deli and buy anything that's on our menu. Our best sellers are the pasta sauce, Luigi seasoning, freshly sliced meats and cheeses, specialty food items, and of course my passion, our wine shop. To see plenty of details and all the happiness at Luigi's, go to our social media at Shop Luigi's on Facebook or Luigi's Bakersfield on Instagram.
Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, where friends, me.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Act.
Should I try to play an Aussie song?
I don't care.
It's up to you. I mean, I played one earlier, so.
Might as well. So what do we got? We got Nathan, Trump.
Nathan, Trump, and the third bite on the bottom.
Oh, Malcolm?
No, there you go.
Okay, cool.
I do not have TK. Was this at the press conference?
TK Waters.
Yeah, it was at the press conference, right?
Yeah, he's standing at the podium, big, tall, black guy.
Yeah, it was during the questions portion, or was it during his?
I don't know. I just saw the bite.
Dig it up then, 'cause I keep.
Well, then just anything you can get on him, then.
Okay, give me a second.
Well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all
It was probably a question about the fight.
Because I found the one of the reporter asking you like, "Hey, was that necessary?" And he answers that one. You want that question?
Yeah, that's fine.
A full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home. So don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744. Stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
I love the guy. I really did. I was a addicted viewer of the show. I would have to watch it with captions because I couldn't understand a damn word that came out of his pie hole, but he was a lovable guy. I hope you guys don't perceive that I'm trying to bag on Ozzy Osbourne or bag on people that are celebrating his life. You got to admit, though, for as much, same thing for Mick Jagger and who's the guitar player with skin that looks like he's been in the sun for 80 years? Yeah. No, for the Stones. For the Stones. Somebody, don't text us. Chris will look it up before you can text me, believe me, because we're on a 2-minute delay. You know what I'm talking about. Keith Richards. Same thing with him. How are these guys still alive? All the cocaine they did in the 70s and the 80s? How in the world? So I'm just saying, let's be honest. Maybe I just always compare it to my dad who didn't smoke and didn't drink and had a heart attack at 56. And these guys are doing coke and slurping down bourbon and lived to be 76, Mick's in his 80s, Keith's in his 80s. Coke and bourbon, huh? I guess. Yeah. I only got a couple of minutes before we get to Teresa Golden, but there's new news about Gabriela Rodriguez. She was the dental tech who was working out in the North County at North Kern prison, where I will be on Friday. They're presenting us a check for Honor Flight. Jen Bowden and I are going out there Friday. And Derek Williams is the 50-year-old neighbor who was arrested, being charged with murder. He's pleaded not guilty in the arraignment. And he's a 50-year-old man who apparently was terrorizing this neighborhood, which should remind all of you, if you have somebody or something going on in your neighborhood and somebody ain't right, you need to just not call 911, but just call 327-7171, call the police department and just ask for a wellness check and let them deal with it. And because this guy, apparently they talked, 17 KGT talked with one of the neighbors who said, yeah, he wasn't right. He'd scream at people and tell them that they're going to hell and terrorizing the neighborhood. And Gabriela Rodriguez wasn't, apparently, according to her son, wasn't even the target. KGT-17 interviewed 22-year-old Nathan Rodriguez.
I just seen him toppling over my mom, and I just ran outside and I screamed. I screamed for my mom. I screamed. It wasn't supposed to be my mom. It was supposed to be me. In his statement, you know, he did end up saying that, you know, he wanted me instead. He wanted to go ahead and kill me.
Can you believe that? And this 22-year-old has to live with that his mother died, and the freak, the 50-year-old they have in custody, was actually trying to kill him. His mother, from what 17 is reporting, was just coming home, and I don't know whether she was coming home for good, because again, she works out in the North County, but I guess she had a routine of coming home and checking the mail, and she was outside, and Derek Williams allegedly attacked her with a knife and killed her. And she leaves a son and a daughter. They had a car wash over the weekend that also just breaks your heart. They had to have a car wash for the funeral. I don't understand why they just get a GoFundMe page. Isn't that the way they do these days on Facebook? Yeah, I would have contributed to that. It's a really, really horrible, horrible story. We head into the second half of the broadcast. We're just getting started. It's a Tuesday. So our former federal magistrate judge and former Kern County counsel, Teresa Goldner, joins us after the break. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Be there at 9:30.
8:45. 8:45.
Okay, just to make sure, because I don't know about traffic in the morning. How are you? Good.
Hey, hey, hey. How are you?
I forgot about this appreciation.
The lady in black.
This is too high.
Too high, too high.
Grab that thing right there on your right.
No,
Right.
I don't like
Come
to
right
that
there.
right either.
And just There you go.
Woo! It's a little roller coaster ride.
Oh. Oh, I didn't bring my charger. I could be in trouble.
Your phone charger? I have one in my car. Too late? Go get it?
What's that?
I have a phone charger in my
No,
car.
no, I'm fine.
How are you?
So how have you been? Great.
Oh, good. Good. Turn this off.
What are we talking about again?
We're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine.
Yep.
You don't have a song?
Do I what?
She doesn't have a song?
I do have a song.
There it is. I thought you had a song.
You know.
I understand. It's a Tuesday. And our former federal magistrate judge and former Kern County Council, Teresa Goldner, live in studio.
Hi, Ralph.
For all the YouTubers that are watching. How are you?
What do you think about this
Hang
YouTube
on, hang
thing?
on, hang on. There we go. Now you're working. Now you're cooking with gas.
What do you think about this YouTube, being on YouTube? Do you like it?
It's yes.
You
yes,
do?
Yes.
Or what? You feel like you have to say that you like it?
Well, no. It's I've created problems by talking off mic, and
Yes, it's
the
called
talk of the radio station. So now I've got to shut off the mic when I'm not on air.
Do you put a little sticky note up there that says "turn off"?
No, I
during
can
break?
remember. I didn't care, and I thought it was more intriguing to let them eavesdrop on my conversations. And if you curse, the FCC doesn't monitor YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
So you don't. We can swear as much as we want.
When I'm off mic. Now, if I'm talking into this thing, the FCC can come in.
Even on YouTube.
No.
Oh, when you're on the radio.
Yeah, it's just when I go to break and I go down the hall and I talk to Randy, and I think the staff thinks I've made several mistakes. I think I've only made one.
I remember
where I talked about a staffer.
I remember one thing.
Where I said that
it wasn't you. It wasn't you. It was somebody on. It was the first time I think I watched you on YouTube.
Yeah.
And somebody said, somebody wrote in on YouTube some comment about one of your guests.
I think it was me. I think I said that somebody looked hot.
That's it.
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody that.
Which I thought was a
typed it in.
compliment. She's an attractive woman, the person I was talking about.
That's true, but you understand what the issue is there, right?
No.
Really?
Really.
Oh my gosh, this is a guy thing.
So if you walked
Total
out,
guy
if you
thing.
walked out of this here in the studio right now and I said, God, Teresa Golden is a beautiful woman, that would be a horrible thing.
Depends on what we talked about. Here's what I'm thinking. I know you're looking at me funny. Well, first of all, hi, Ralph. I'm happy to be here.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Okay. She was talking about something very serious that day.
True.
Right? Very
True.
serious.
Yes, we were.
And I don't think there was any humor in any of the things that she was talking about with you.
No.
And then when she left and she was described as being hot, the thing about that is it kind of undercuts, I think, the seriousness of what she was saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hot is not a really good word.
I mean, if you were being interviewed by the lovely women on The View, let's say.
Yeah.
And you walked out and they said, man, that Ralph is hot. He's smoking hot.
Say, yeah, baby.
Did you like that?
Yeah, baby. Let's go, Whoopi.
Do you think Whoopi's hot?
Now, Alyssa Farah.
You've never looked at me like that
Now,
before.
Alyssa Farah Griffith.
She's pretty.
She's very pretty.
She is very pretty.
And very smart, which
about
makes her more attractive.
Being smart.
Yes.
Oh, I think smart is a
Very
really good
yes.
thing.
I'm extremely attracted. I have never dated a woman who wasn't smarter than I am.
That's good.
Most
That's
every
really
one of my
good.
girlfriends was smarter than I am.
I think that's wonderful. You know, there is I forget what the word is. There's a word for that.
Yes.
Somebody
Sexes, sapia.
yeah, it's
What's the
something.
word for that?
When
When you're attracted to intelligence.
yes, it's like the
Sapio
one thing.
something, sapio. Yeah.
Maybe
Chris is looking
Chris
it
can
up
look
right
it up.
now.
But yeah, that's true because I think that when somebody is really intelligent and smart and all that stuff, it's just so fun
Alluring.
to be around them.
Yes.
I find intelligence as the number one most attractive thing.
I agree.
In a man.
Yes.
Oh,
Sapio sexual.
Is there a definition for that, Chris? There you go. Yeah, I think that's so true.
It is true.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't hurt if they have pretty eyes and
Yep.
all that stuff. But you know
I have stopped seeing women who just weren't very intelligent.
How long ago did that start?
When I was young.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's because you had a very smart mother and you're
Yes.
smart women all your
Yes.
life. That's probably part
I
of
think
it.
you're right.
You
I
know,
think you're absolutely right.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because people, there is a saying that, or there's a school of thought that says people are attracted to what reminds them the most about themselves. For example, like when you talk about a lot of times couples kind of look alike. Have you ever noticed
Yes.
that? And that's because when they like familiarity, and when they look in the mirror in the morning and they see themselves, they feel the most familiar with somebody who is sort of looks like them. And so a lot of times couples look alike. Not always, but quite often.
Yeah, I don't think
Looking at
I'm.
me funny.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm that handsome, so I don't want any girlfriend who looks like me. No. I go the other way. All right, let's get into it.
You're breaking the mold. Okay,
Yeah.
I get that.
Let's get into it. What are we talking about today?
Well, I was listening to your show the other day, and I was driving.
So you're the one.
What?
I'm
the
kidding.
one.
I'm kidding.
I was listening to your show, and you said something about, well, we're going to have to ask Goldner about that, and it was a question.
Oh,
about
the
a
dog
video.
shooting. Have you
So
seen the video?
I right before I came over here, I think I found the video that you're talking about. It's about a guy who he kind of comes up the driveway. There's a car. It's kind of hard to see everything, but can you just?
He comes running up. It's an African American gentleman. They live in a very middle class neighborhood, and he is screaming coming up the sidewalk, "Your MFing dog bit my child." That's all he's screaming repeatedly. That's all he says. "Your MFing dog bit my child." And they're like, "We know, we're sorry. No, but you bit my child. You bit my child. You bit my child." And he walks up the driveway. Their family is all arguing with him. One of the children is there in the driveway. He walks up into the driveway. He opens the back seat of the car. Boosh, boosh, boosh. Shoots the dog, puts his gun away, and walks away. And that's where the video ends.
And they're screaming. I think.
Oh,
It's
the
kids
child
that
is
are-
going crazy. Can you imagine
Yeah.
having the family dog shot right in front of you?
Yes.
So what happened next?
Well,
in your opinion?
he got arrested. I don't know if you read about it, but he.
No, you followed up the case.
I
I was
did.
just going to tell you to speculate, but
Well,
you
no,
actually
he did.
looked
I
up the
looked
case.
it up, but I like I said, I only just recently watched the video, but I read about the video. He got arrested. His lawyer is being like, okay, we know he did wrong, and this is not good. He was arrested for animal cruelty, and I think they might have amended the charges to also include cruelty to a child because the child watched the dog get shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happened was he shot the dog when the dog was. I think he shot through the car or outside of the car. He shot the dog.
No, he opened the door.
But he shot the dog twice. The best news is that the dog survived.
Wow.
Thank goodness. So the dog didn't die. But he was charged with those 2 counts because, every state has some type of a statute that prohibits killing or injuring animals unnecessarily. And that's where you get into the animal cruelty.
Are those felonies?
Yes, they can. Yes, absolutely. They
Yeah.
can be felon. They can be misdemeanors too. It depends on how the prosecutor wants to charge him. But that's what he was charged with in that case. I have a feeling that he's going to do some jail time on that one.
Could he
But
please?
he claims that he thought the dog bit his daughter, but it turns out the dog really didn't bite his daughter. He just thought the dog bit his daughter. Either somebody told him that, or the child was all upset. But in reality,
Wow.
no dog bite. So poor dog got shot twice for no reason at all. So not only
But now he's got to go to jail.
He's in big trouble.
Yeah, come on. He's got to do time.
Right. And then he can also, there's a lot of things he could have got charged with, like Property damage, because actually in every state in our country, animals, of course, they're not persons. They're not treated as people or humans or persons, even though they are sentient beings. So they're treated as property, assets, like this microphone.
Right.
Here.
That's why I questioned
And
what might happen.
So that's as far as it goes. So you can, the owner can sue for the death of a dog or damage to a dog or cruelty to a dog. But other than that, you can't, just for shooting a dog, you don't get charged with murder.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's
But
what I thought.
in some countries, they're actually starting to pass laws where they're starting to treat animals more like people, believe it or not, for purposes of the criminal law. And in fact, in California and some other states, they changed the family law statutes to say that when the judge is deciding on who gets the dog in a property in a settlement, they can consider, you ready for this, what is in the best interest of
the dog.
And that's actually the standard for deciding custody of children in a family law case.
Really?
The standard is what is in the best interest of the child. And then, of course, there's a whole list of things that the judge has to consider. But now they can consider the best interest of the dog, too, because you wouldn't believe it. People fight in divorce cases, the things they fight over, including dogs. It can get pretty intense.
I've always said my dad was a wonderful human being. He really was. But he was born in 1942. So he grew up with a little, what I call boogity boogity in him. You know what I mean?
Was he tough on dogs?
No, he was tough on Caucasians. He had a little prejudice, a little bigotry.
Oh, that's what boogity boogity means.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
A little boogity
Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Bailey.
You're welcome. And he used to say, and I used to just cringe. I'd be like, Dad, you can't say stuff like that. But he'd always say, rich white folks love their dogs more than they love their children. And I'd be like, Dad, you can't say that. He's like, it's true. It's true. I'm just telling you what's true. And I was just always like,
I think some people, I can see what your dad was saying.
I think there's a Scotia truth in that.
That's true.
I really
it's
do.
Really true. One of the
still can't say that out loud.
You just
God. My dad would say things like
boogity?
A little boogity boogity. Yeah. He would say things like, we'd be watching something and like, Jeffrey Dahmer killed 12 people today. Boom, boom, boom. We'd be always sitting around the television watching the news because we used to do that in the 70s. And he'd say, white people. And I'd be like, Dad, what if our neighbor said, damn, black people? You'd be hysterical.
Oh, I wish I had met your dad.
He's a good guy.
I
He
bet
really
he would
was.
have been fun to have on your show.
He had a little boogity boogity in him, but he was smart enough to treat people as when he met them as if, they treated him. He really wasn't fair. But he did have a little boogie boogie, just a little bit.
And on that dog thing, one of the things that I was kind of interested in, actually I had to look it up because I was looking up all the dog law stuff. There are a lot of cases of people that kill their neighbors' dogs.
Really?
There's tons of them out there. I didn't know there were so many of them.
What if you retaliated? What if they had shot him?
Then they would be in trouble.
Really? You can't defend your property and your family and you're waving a gun around my child and I can't.
Well, it depends. Was the child in danger? Of course, that could be self-defense.
Not really.
Now you're talking about self-defense, right?
Yeah.
And so the issue on self-defense in a fact pattern like this.
Are you threatened?
Yes. And of course, in this case, in this particular case, self-defense was not an option, at least for this dog owner, because or at least actually for the guy who shot the dog, he can't even claim self-defense because the dog was in the car when he shot him the second time.
And I cannot believe after all this,
there was no danger of the dog jumping on anybody.
And he never really bit the child.
No,
that is just
after all that. He was never really
that
bit.
is just horrible.
So I don't know. There's a lot of and what was so interesting, Ralph, of most of the cases that I read, I kind of got intrigued by it after I started looking it up.
I could tell.
Most of them
you get into rabbit holes and you can't get out.
Most of them were from Florida.
Well, of course.
I mean, they were almost all from Florida, about neighbors shooting neighbors' dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Let me tell you something, Teresa. I was a newspaper man for a long time. And if a story starts, a Florida man, you can know it's going south.
Kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Sorry, people from Florida.
But it's true. It's true. The craziest stories come out of the Sunshine State.
I don't think
know
dogs
why.
are as beloved in Florida as they are in Malibu,
Yeah.
California.
Yeah. All right. Teresa Golden is our guest, former federal magistrate judge, joining us as she does every Tuesday. In fact, she'll be hosting the show August the 5th when I'm on vacation. Let's get into Jelaine Maxwell.
Yes. First of all, is that how you pronounce her name?
Jelaine.
I
Jelaine.
never knew quite sure.
Yeah, spelled really oddly, but it's Jelaine.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting what's going on with her. You know, her case, she was convicted of trafficking kids. And her case is on appeal right now before the United States Supreme Court. So she gets out of jail, I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like 2035 or 2033.
Wow.
She's got 12 years, I think, to go in prison. And she's actually in a minimum security prison, a federal prison in Florida. But she is wanting to come and talk. She is wanting to be cooperative. At her sentencing, she was saying that, you know, she thinks that Jeffrey Epstein is a despicable person who uses people and used her. And, you know, this is this person that she was with for all these years,
Right.
and engaged in a lot of the alleged sex trafficking things. But she wants to come and talk to Congress, and she wants to come and talk to the Department of Justice. The Assistant Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who was one of President Trump's lawyers,
attorney during the whole fight in New York.
And who's a good lawyer. He really is. He was been in the U.S. Attorney's office before, and then he went into civil, and now he's back. But he's going to go and interview her, and they expect that he's going to interview her in the next couple of days.
Okay, let me stop you. Why now? Why would they have not done this when she first got into jail? And if there is something in these files, as everyone believes, except me, then why did she not use that as leverage either after the indictment for pre-trial or at her sentencing? If she really has nuggets, wouldn't they have given her an easier sentence if she had said, I'll help you. I know something.
From what I read, they weren't interested in it until now. They didn't want to, even though she expressed a willingness to talk before. So
who is they? Is that the Biden
yes,
administration?
The Biden Department of Justice was not willing to go there, was not willing to talk to her based on what I read. And now the Trump one is. But I think the Trump one is now only because of all the public outcry about, first you told us there was a list of Epstein clients, now you say there's not.
Absolute self-inflicted wound.
Oh, it is. But I find it hard to believe that if he really did all these horrible things, you know, like I'm sure he did, but I find it hard to believe that there is not some kind of a list of the people who came to him and he represented in all these transactions, and whatever transactions, financial transactions there are. There's always going to be a client list. I mean, lawyers have lists of clients, CPAs have lists of clients. There's always, whether the list means that they did anything wrong, that's a separate story.
Yeah.
That's something that, you know, I think deserves to be investigated. But if he had this awful operation going, like it sounds like it was on Epstein Island and at his home in New York, I think that it should be investigated, because if there are people out there that were doing this, raping and molesting minors, I think they should be brought to justice, regardless of who they are.
You know Alan Dershowitz really well. He's a very well-respected attorney.
Yes, I actually like him very much.
He has said, and we have the audio, we played it last week, I believe, last week, where he says, hand to God, I know for a fact that there's a list and there are files that are protecting certain people, but because of my relationship, I cannot reveal that, but I'm telling you, it's out there. And when Dershowitz says that, it's hard to believe that he's lying.
I believe him.
I do
but
too.
I also don't know that I understand the reason that he gave for not being able to disclose that, because remember, he was a victim of Virginia Giuffre, the woman who
who accused him.
Right. And he claims, you know, he was unjustly accused, and she actually later recanted and said, no, he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Wasn't the guy I was thinking.
Right. So he was righteously, you know, indignant
Yeah.
and angry, and, you know, hired big gun lawyers to represent him in the litigation and all of that. And so he was there for all of the discovery that was done, depositions, interrogatories, document requests that were done in that case. So he has seen what was produced, and he has seen what was found on Epstein's Island and in those files. So I believe him when he says that.
I do too.
There's no attorney-client privilege that would attach to him as a defendant or a victim in that case. He certainly would be able to disclose anything unless he's subject to some kind of a judge's protective order saying you shall not disclose these things.
Yeah.
And I find that hard to believe that he can't talk about it.
What do you think the judge is going to do in terms of the DOJ going to them and requesting that some of the grand jury testimony? You work with grand juries. It's one of the
Yes.
things you love to do. I thought grand jury testimony was supposed to be secretive.
It is supposed to, but it can be disclosed later on. And of course, this is a federal grand jury that they're talking about going to, not a state grand jury. And the judge does have the power to order that allow the documents to be released upon a showing of good cause.
Do you think they will?
I do. In this case, of course, the good cause that they're.
I was going to say, what's the cause?
The good cause is
Curiosity?
Significant public interest. And what is the reason for not releasing it other than to protect the victims? And if you can release it in a way that it, protects the victims in the case, there's no reason for not releasing this evidence. If I were the judge, I would say, yes, you can release this. I think you should.
I think he was a spy. Either for the CIA or for the Israeli government. And most likely the Israeli government, and that's why they're shutting it up, because they don't want it out that an Israeli government official working inside America and having all these Prince Andrew and all these guys. That's just my guess.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And I've heard that too, that he
Mhm.
was either a United States agent or whatever.
Ehud Barak was hanging out there. We know that for a fact. The
Barack Obama was there.
Ehud,
Ehud.
EHUD,
Yes, the
former Israeli prime minister.
Correct.
Big hangout at his island.
What do you think about Bill Clinton going out to the island so many times?
Well, we know. Come on.
You think
the man had oral sex in the Oval Office with a 21-year-old girl?
Yes.
He's capable of anything.
Well, didn't Hillary go with him sometimes?
To the island?
Yeah, I thought their logs showed that she'd even been there.
See, that's my problem with releasing all this thing. As I've said, Trump was good friends with him, and then they broke long before he got into politics.
15 years. He hadn't talked to him.
And just because you hung out with that guy,
right,
doesn't make you a pedophile.
No, it doesn't.
And what's your make of this lawsuit that he's suing Wall Street Journal and insisting that these doodles weren't his and this and that?
This has to do with, I guess there was a book that was made for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday or something.
And the president
many years ago, and one of his drawings or something was in the book.
He denies it ever happened. And the Wall Street Journal, which I think is unscrupulous, if I've got something on you, Teresa Golder, and I'm about to publish it, I should at least show it to you. If you said that you made this little piece of paper right here, and I just publish it and say you did it, and I don't go to you and say, did you do this? Take a look at it right there.
I would hope that you would.
They never did that. And this is the Wall Street Journal, considered one of the best publications in the country. And that's, to me, as a former journalist, that's below the belt.
Is that an absolute journalistic rule, ethical rule? Maybe.
Yes.
Not?
Yes.
Really?
I think yes.
Okay.
I think a good journalist would have the decency to at least show this to the person. If you're going to say you did it,
you give them a chance to respond
exactly.
or defend themselves.
Exactly.
I think that, I don't know. All I know is I've read about it, so I don't really have an opinion on that part. If he says he didn't do it, I mean, I think it's easy to prove that he didn't, because they have experts like question documents examiners that testify in court all the time about whether that's someone's signature or whether that's their handwriting.
Right.
I mean, all that stuff is provable, maybe not to 100%, but 99.99%.
Yeah.
So, if it's not his, it can be shown that it's not his.
I hate to bring his name up, and it blew me away. I watch Abby Phillip every night on CNN. She's got a great panel show that she has conservatives and liberals on. That's why I like the show. And she's a beautiful young Black girl, and she's a really intelligent Harvard graduate and a really good host. She had Michael Cohen on her show yesterday. No. And I was like, oh, Abby, that's what I said. He's got a podcast. And I was like, why would you bring this felon, this criminal, this lying, no good, disgusting human being on? But he did say, he got on and he said, look, I don't give a damn about Trump, but I knew the man for 11 years. And I'm telling you, he's not a doodler. I'm not trying to protect him. I'm just telling you what I knew about the man. And I was by his side for almost 11 years. And I never once, if you're with a guy, you'll see him on their legal pad or on a napkin or something, doodling or whatever. That's how Merv Griffin created Wheel of Fortune.
I didn't know that.
He was at the Beverly Hills Hotel, which he later bought, and he was doodling. They were playing Hangman on a napkin, and he said, "You know, this would make a great game show." And the guy he was with was one of his producers. And he says, "You're right," and they created Wheel of Fortune.
That's amazing.
Isn't that a great story?
That is a really good story.
I went to
I
high
mean,
school with
Michael-
Merv's son.
Did you really? Was
Yeah,
he
he
a nice
was.
guy?
We think Tony he was bipolar, but it was the 70s and we didn't really know what bipolar was.
Merv Griffin was an interesting man.
Very interesting man.
Yeah,
A
smart-
wonderful
smart
wife
guy.
who was his beard. He was homosexual.
Right.
But a brilliant man. Bought the Beverly Hills Hotel, created Wheel of Fortune, was a great pianist, and a really nice man. One of the few celebrities I met in high school that was a really decent man.
Kind of a Renaissance man.
He really was.
Yeah, I
He's
think so.
brilliant and a great musician and a great singer, and just did all these things in the background that a lot of people didn't know about, including creating Wheel of Fortune and picking Pat Sajak, who at the time was the meteorologist at KNBC.
Did you ever meet him?
No.
Pat
Oh, no, that's
Sajak.
not true. That's not true. I didn't meet him, but I was in the Dodger clubhouse with Mike Big Dog Parent watching the Dodger game, and he was down there having dinner.
Nice.
He looks in person. Let me just say this: they use a lot of makeup.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was like,
I hear the music. I have
Yes.
one quick update.
what do you got? 30 seconds.
Betty the Peacock had 4 new
Oh
chicks.
Lord, you now have
No.
6 peacocks.
We have 8.
8 peacocks.
I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
You and Barry are gonna have to move to a ranch. Googly moogly. Always good to see you. I really
Thanks,
enjoyed
Rob.
that. See you next week.
Bye.
Teresa Goldner, quick time out for TRBS. I would stick around if I you. That was great. So what are you gonna do with all these
I
peacocks?
don't know. I don't know if I told you.
And you still got Kevin the squirrel?
Kevin the squirrel. I fed him right before I came out here. He's so funny. He's big now. He's a cutie, but he doesn't sit on my shoulder anymore. He's
Thank you, Jesus. Terry, what
I
if he
don't
bit you?
I don't do anything. I don't know why. Don't ask me.
What
It's
if he
'cause I
bit
feed
you?
him. He won't. He hasn't. Oh, not all this time. He got one time he was sliding down off the roof of his squirrel house, and he was coming towards me because it's slanted, and he goes, whoa, and he went right here, and he has big nails, and that's as far
Oh,
as it went.
see, that's enough for me. Do peacocks lay eggs?
Yes, they do. I didn't know that either.
And how big are the chicks?
The chicks, well, I saw him for the first time yesterday because I think Betty, I haven't seen her for a month. I thought she was gone.
So they
She went-
roam the neighborhood?
They were couch surfing around the neighborhood. That's how they ended up at our house.
Do your neighbors say like, Teresa,
No, they laugh. They go,
Your-
they ended up at your
your
house.
peacock was in my pool?
No,
No?
but oh my God, at nighttime. Have you ever heard of peacock? at night?
Yes, I told you we in
Yeah.
Palos Verdes. They're all over the peninsula.
They sound
Ah,
they go,
ah,
yeah, that's what they say.
ah.
Or these
God.
they go,
And they rarely
help me.
they rarely do the NBC thing with the
Oh.
feathers. Scare somebody away or mate.
They're doing a mating dance. You know how they do that?
They spread the
They
wings.
go like this, and then
The feathers?
They kind of shimmy. They go around like this.
Yeah.
In front of the girl, and like, look at me, I'm hungry.
It's kind of like what I do.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you for today. Hope it was okay.
That was great. Are you kidding?
That's silly. That thing about Donald Trump and the doodle. That's
No, that's they're. What's going to happen with this lawsuit? Do you think he's suing him for billions? You think so? You think Murdoch will out of the New York Times? Or no, CBS. Well, that's what I'm about to talk about. Stephen Colbert just went off last night, and they're all saying that it's political. When he's making he's making $20 million a year, and that show loses $40 million a year. I'm about to compare him to the WNBA players. How you gonna complain when your show is losing money?
Don't you think they fired him because he's losing money?
Yes,
That's why they fired
and there's a staff of 200.
Yeah.
Meantime, Greg Gutfield on Fox is kicking his butt in the ratings. He's got a staff of 12, and a show costs nothing to produce. Yeah, and he's. I'm sure he makes 7 figures. He's not making $20 million. Tell you that.
You could do a Greg Gutfield show. You could do what he does.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Think about that.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm thinking about trying to do a podcast, maybe. Yeah. I think that'll where I'll inevitably end up doing a podcast one day.
I think you'd be great at it.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. So, boy. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Saturday morning. No details have been released as to how he got there. Curry County Coroner's Office is working to identify him. Officials are
Hey, did you hook up the mic on the headset? Because they're saying they can't hear you. It is what it is. Yeah.
Truck and a semi caused all northbound lanes of I-5 to be temporarily closed over the weekend. It was reported a little before 4:30 Saturday afternoon, just south of the Interstate 5 escape ramp. One person was seriously hurt. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Calling or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 22nd day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. We played you some audio yesterday of the POS, better known as Hunter Biden. And I only saw excerpts, and we only played excerpts. You still got that audio from yesterday? We didn't play the second one because it's loaded with beeps because he's dropping F-bombs. You know, I looked at that audio. I got to see a lot of it yesterday. I got get to see a lot of the interview that he did. I think he was high as a kite. I really do. I think if you look back on that, if you look closely, his foot is going a mile. His foot is going like this at one point. And if you look in his eyes, they look glassy. I think he was high as a kite when he went on this podcast. I don't even know the name. It doesn't matter. And was dropping F-bombs and attacked George Clooney for writing the op-ed when George Clooney should be heralded as a hero. While the Biden administration lied and lied and lied and lied and lied, while Jill and the POS Hunter kept pushing this old man who I believe they knew had cancer, this old man who they knew couldn't do this, and they thought maybe with incumbency, because as I've always told you, it is hard to screw up as an incumbent. That's why only two men in the history of our republic, Mr. Trump and Grover Cleveland.
Hello, City Councilman. The Jay Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Hey, everybody, it's that man again. Ralph Bailey was a depth. You know, it's funny. It's a depth. The mall.
Hot mic coming through. Hot mic coming through. Be quiet. Leave me alone. Shut up. Don't talk to me.
simple, stable, and secure. Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. You are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens, cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations. It's time you learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large
You got anything?
network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-45.
Hey, what time is my first live?
Understand your healthcare option for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need, coverage you deserve. Accommodations of persons with special needs and needs. Call 661-554-4544. TT
445.
445. If I could be with you all my life, I'd be anything but blue. If only I could be with you. Didn't bring my charger. Big dummy. I'd be anything but blue. If only I could be with you. You got anything with TK? You got something? TK Waters, right? Roller coaster. Some blah. Say what? Roller coaster. Woo-hoo. Why don't you ride? Oh, I love roller coaster. And the Ohio Players. Grew up with this. Never saw them in concert. Saw Earth, Wind, and Fire. Saw the Beach Boys at midnight on New Year's Eve. Saw the Grateful Dead. Saw Boston. Saw the Jackson 5. No, I'm not that old. It's kind of it was a reunion type thing. Michael had already gone on his own and whatever. You know what I saw last night? You ever watch? It's an autopsy show. I forget what it's called. Like The Last Look at Prince or something like that. It's an autopsy show, and they have a medical examiner, and they spend an hour going over famous people's deaths. And they're saying that they don't think Prince had so much drugs in his house, and he was getting it from the black market because he had them hidden in like aspirin bottles. And they think that, or at least this program and this forensic pathologist thinks that he got what he thought was oxycodone and actually took fentanyl, and that's what killed him. And as I've talked about, he died in such a mansion. He died in his elevator. How big his house was. And I went to school. Well, not to school. She was at Spelman, and I was at Morehouse. But Tracy Bransford, who's from Minnesota, became one of his many entertainment lawyers, and was absolutely devastated with his death. 842-5376, 842-KERN. I hate to, I'm not trying to make light, but you know the old saying, when celebrities die, right? That they die in threes. You've never heard that? So it's Malcolm and Ozzy. There's a third one coming. I don't know. There's some, I can't think of anybody who we know that's really, really old, just off the top of my head.
I mean, Ozzy going, I agree with you. Like, you can kind of see this coming. He kind of could barely stand.
I mean, he's fortunate to make it to 76. I'm almost to the point where if God sat in that chair right now and said, I'll give you a guaranteed 76, I'm like, ooh, that's a tough call. Yeah, because that's not even 2 decades from now. And my mom is turning, and my mom's turning 83. But I had a horrible rash of high blood pressure. So I honestly believe that my arteries are not as thick as a normal man my age, which does not bode well for living a long life.
I have family members on my grandma's family that are like in their 90s.
Well, you ain't going anywhere unless you get hit by a truck, because it's all about genes. It really is. It really is. And I always thought that I was going to die young because my dad died young. And yet his older brother, my Uncle Charles, Pee Wee, is about to turn 89. And his younger brother, my favorite, other than my mother, my favorite family member, my Uncle Irvin, who every August 3rd is my very first call. It's so crazy. It used to annoy me because he calls me at like 8:30 Eastern time. So 5:30 in the morning, I'm like, it's Uncle Irvin. Hi, I don't have to look at the phone. I don't have to look at the phone. Hey, Uncle Irvin. Hey there. Happy birthday, Jazzbo. It's a nickname he gave me when I was like 8 years old, and still to this day calls me Jazzbo. I have no idea what that means. No clue. Quick time out. We head into the back half of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll get into situation down in Jacksonville, Florida, where a 22-year-old was badly beaten by the sheriff's department down there, but it is, in fact, partly his fault. I'll explain when we come back.
Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably on that list.
Yeah, you're right.
And Martinez wants to drop off like a coin stand thing to put back there if you want.
And somebody made a good suggestion that we should put this on a pole.
But what?
The flag.
On the pole?
I mean, it's not touching the ground.
No, it is not.
That's the deal. You can't let it touch the ground.
Not be standing there if it's touching the ground. No. I mean, where would you put it?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of at least hang it up somewhere, but we really have nowhere to put it that would actually be in the scene. Like, unless you drape it like this, but it would cut off most of the tapestry. So.
We're never going to, completely please these people.
No.
Because some of them are haters. This guy, John Flacco, is a hater, and you just deal with it. That's what we did the same thing at the other station. We just got to.
With all the good comes bad. Actually, double bad nowadays. So.
And the views are up.
Oh, yeah.
Views are up. We got 199 the other day. That ain't bad. So you got anybody for Friday? I got 3:30 and 4 taken care of. I just need maybe a 4:30, and we re-air Bentley at 5, because I got to go out to North Kern with Bowden. We got to be out there at 9:30, so we're leaving at like 8:45. So, and then we got to come back here for Dave's thing. What time is that? Yeah, so I'm here. Yeah, but I'm saying I got to have the show done by 8:30. There's got to be something going on. Yeah, there's got to be something going on. Do we have anything going on? We don't have any events coming up?
injections? Many people are facing failed results, bad side effects, rising costs, or simply want to get off the injections. At Bakersfield Weight Loss, they offer a breakthrough natural approach to help reset your metabolism to get the weight off fast and easy and keep it off without exercising, prepackaged foods, or counting calories. They helped me do it. I lost 25 pounds and have kept the weight off. Schedule your free consultation today at bakersfieldweightloss.com or call 661-449-1150. This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS levy overage charge, then don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these tax relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with a BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147. Or simply visit TRA.com. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Love don't do you no harm, cause I feel nice, like sugar and spice. I feel nice, like sugar and spice. So nice, so nice. I got you. Wow. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So I finally cleaned up the apartment. First time since the 3-week gout bout, including the glass. You want to know how trifling I am? It's my dad's word. So trifling. I was hopping for about 4 or 5 days when it started 3 weeks ago on a Saturday morning. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I was literally hopping to the front door to get my Uber Eats and to the bathroom. And that's the only place I ever went for like 4 days. I missed 2 days of work. It was horrible. And one time I was hopping back to the bedroom and fell and broke a glass. And I just kind of swept it to the side and just left it there because I had to get off my feet. And today was the first day where I could really get around. I'm still in pain, but I can get around. And I swung a golf club for the second day in a row and finally swept up the glass. That's how trifling I am. The glass has been sitting there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And why do you think I cleaned up today, Chris? Finally. Yes, my housekeeper. Lydia's coming on Thursday, which my mother used to do. Just doesn't make sense that I clean up before the housekeeper comes. It's amazing, though, because I'm a lifelong slob, and it's just absolutely amazing what I consider cleaning up. And then when Lydia comes, where my sink in the bathroom and in the kitchen is sparkling, absolutely sparkling. The floor, my kitchen floor, the bathroom floor, the tub, I love her. I love her. And Donald Trump wants to send her back to El Salvador. I'm assuming she doesn't speak a lick of English unless she's doing the Shohei Ohtani. You know what that is? I don't get that. He speaks English. And we went through this in the 80s with Fernando, where he spoke English, but it's their second language, so they're a little timid to try to speak it on television. But you see him at first base talking to our first base coach. You see him in the dugout talking to the players. I'm pretty sure there's nobody on the Dodger ball club other than maybe Edman, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Sasaki, and that's about it, who speak Japanese. I'm pretty sure that's safe to say. And I've seen Shohei I mean, having open conversations with guys in the dugout. And I see him when he bumps helmets with our first base coach. And they're having a conversation. And then he gets on with Kirsten Watson. And then you can tell, she'll ask the question. And while she's asking the question, he's bobbing his head like, yeah, you're right. And yet she still has to give the mic to the interpreter and then gives the mic. He won't even answer the question after getting it from the interpreter in English. I don't understand. And I guess I do, because like I said, we went through this in the 80s with Fernando. Because Fernando spoke after like the second or third season, Fernando spoke English and he would still use an interpreter. And it wasn't until about the fourth or fifth season that he just started speaking English. There is a classic, and I'm sure some of you have seen it, Tommy Lasorda video, where it's the first season. And I think he's on his maybe second or third start, because if you're a true Dodger fan, you know that Fernando started like 8-0 and had an ERA under 1. It was stupid. And he was getting hits. He was a great hitter. He's one of the best pitchers that was one of the best hitting pitchers in the history of baseball. And he didn't speak English at the time. And they asked him a question. And he went on, he went on for like a minute. And Tommy said, Fernando just said, I love playing for the Dodgers. We're the greatest organization in baseball. My manager, Tommy, is the greatest manager who ever lived. And I would play for nobody but Tommy. And the sports writers start cracking up. It's man, there's just so many great Tommy moments. There really are. You got to watch. I'm telling you, got to watch. Particularly if you've never seen it, the 88 documentary on that 88 Miracle team that had absolutely no business beating the New York Mets, that Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez, Lenny Dykstra, Jesse Orozco, Ron Darling, Bobby Ojeda, Mookie Wilson. I mean, that was a good Ray Knight, Gary Carter. They had like 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on that team. We had Doc Gooden. I forgot about Doc. We had no business beating that with Franklin Stubbs, Alfredo Griffin, Steve Sachs, Mike Marshall. Are you kidding me? The only star on that team was Oral and Kirk Gibson. We had no business beating the Mets. And we certainly had no business beating Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Dave Parker, Don Baylor, Terry Steinbach, Dave Stewart. No business beating them. You got to go watch it. The 88 documentary on that 88 team. And that's why I still say the 88 season, Oral Hershiser, greatest single season of any player. To this day, Oral Hershiser is the only player in baseball to win the NLCS MVP, the World Series MVP, and the Cy Young in one season. Nobody's ever done it. And the night that he won Game 2, the night after Kirk Gibson hit the home run, his parents threw out the first pitch. He goes 9 innings against Baylor, Parker, Canseco, McGuire, et al. And he gives up 3 hits, and he personally, at the plate, gets 3 hits, including 2 doubles, and one that broke the game wide open. Come on. And then he pitches the clincher, Game 6, goes the distance. And by the way, he broke Don Drysdale's consecutive scoreless inning record that year, 59 innings straight without giving up a run. Just saying. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What's everybody talking about? That's what I'm saying. This nitwit, Hunter Biden, thought he was helping his dad, defending his dad, and now he's only got his dad in more trouble. Because if there's a responsible journalist inside the Beltway, this now has to become part of the investigation. The probe into who was running the White House. That's the issue. I don't give a damn about Joe Biden, and I don't think that Republicans who want to get to the bottom of this care it as well. But this whole auto pen thing and Joe insisting that he knew every 1,500 people that he pardoned. We have to know this is a Woodrow Wilson situation where Woodrow Wilson had a stroke, and Mrs. Wilson was running the White House for a period of time. We didn't find that out until later. I think this is exactly what went on during the Biden administration, that Joe was out of it. And these underlings were running the country. Were absolutely running the country. And I think they were using the auto pen to do things that Joe. Remember, there's a great story by the speaker, Mike Johnson, who said, I had a meeting with Joe and I said, Joe, you shouldn't have done A. And he said, I didn't. And he's like, Mr. President, yes, you did. And I don't think that was a memory lapse. I think that's something that the staff did and never even talked with Joe Biden. How does the leader of the free world not know that his Secretary of Defense is AWOL and having surgery for 4 days? How does that happen? Because he wasn't running the ship. That's how that happens. And now Hunter Biden's got him deeper in trouble. What else?
The neighbor had called the cops on that lunatic at least 4 times.
Are we talking about the local thing? No. I think we're talking about Gabriela Rodriguez, who was menaced by her neighbor, Derek Williams, the 50-year-old who was in custody for stabbing Miss Rodriguez. Just a horrible story. We played the audio of her 22-year-old son, who told KGT-17 that Mr. Williams wanted to kill him, and that the mom came out to check the mail, and allegedly Mr. Williams took a knife to her and took her life. So that's heartbreaking to hear that the neighbors did, in fact, call the cops on this guy, because he just, man, you see the video of him in court? He looks like, I mean, it's horrible to say, judging a book by its cover, but he looks like a menacing, mean son of a gun who just wasn't right. And I was thinking about that after I screamed it out of my pie hole. He should call the cops. What really could the cops do? If he's not committing a crime, he's just yelling at neighbors and being a menace, it's not really much the cops can do. They can't put a hold on him. You can put a hold on people if they are a menace to themselves or others, but it's only a 72-hour hold. And it's hard for a shrink to come in on a situation like that and deem somebody nutsy cuckoo. It's just a horrible, sad story. And by the way, it's not even August. Where are we? June? So that's 7 months. And that was our 46th murder of the year. Just doesn't make sense. Really doesn't. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we will get into the situation down in Jacksonville, where a young 22-year-old was dragged out of his car and had his head slammed on the pavement a couple of times as they tried to apply the bracelets on him. And now the 3 or 4 officers involved, one in particular, is on leave as they investigate the situation. And the now famous Black attorney, Ben Crump, is involved. I think I've got a quote from Crump. Yes, I do. You will hear what Mr. Crump has had to say about that. Coming up at 5, we'll get into the DOJ, the Department of Justice, wanting to talk finally with Ghislaine Maxwell, Mr. Epstein's former lover, and the only way I can describe her as a pimp. She was the one that was herding these young women to Epstein Island. Well, now finally, with this whole file gate raging inside the Beltway in D.C., the DOJ and Pam Bondi are finally going to try to sit down and talk with this woman as a judge determines whether or not to release grand jury testimony from the Epstein trial. We'll get into that. Talk a little Dodger baseball at the bottom of the 5. The Twins are in town. And then we're off to Fenway Park, take on the Red Sox. Quick timeout. It's TRBS. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Sweaty staycation, I suppose. But we'll be back Wednesday morning bright and early with a brand new program for you. Miss that, 6 to 9
You know, one of the things that I stress whenever I talk about Casey's Steakhouse is the variety of food. Because if I talked about the great steaks, you all would call me the master of the obvious. Casey's Steakhouse is the finest steakhouse in all of Kern County. But recently I told you I had dinner with cool Matt Riley and the genius Romeo Agbalog and Josh Luke. And of the four of us, none of us had a steak. That is how much Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. I had the Ralph Bailey, the chicken breast and the spinach and mushroom sauce. Romeo has created a salad. It's kind of a Caesar salad with chicken and sun-dried tomatoes and all kind of different ingredients as he's created, and they make it for him. I'm telling you, the variety of food, the lobster mac and cheese, the fish dishes, what Chef Daniel has done is absolutely remarkable. So if you go with a big crowd, not everybody has to have one of the greatest steaks you're going to have in Kern County. And again, don't forget about the Stockyard next door. Go in there and have a craft cocktail after dinner. Live music Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. And Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music Tuesday through Saturday in the main restaurant. Casey's Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show. How much time I got? A minute? If I could be with you, I would be with you. I'd be anything but blue. If only I could be with you. Anything but blue. If only I could be with you. If I could be with you for all my life, then I would be. I'd be anything but blue. If only I could be with you. So we're off to Jacksonville, Florida, where I got offered a TV job. I never sent out a tape in the 6 years that I was in television, and I got 3 television offers. One was in Tyler, Texas, where a guy's wife, the news director's wife, lived here, and they were coming here for a funeral. And I was the weekend anchor at 23, and he saw me on television, and he secretly sent me a letter, actually, asking me if I wanted to come to Tyler and do a 3-day tryout. And I went to Tyler, and it's where Earl Campbell was raised, and everywhere they've got Earl Campbell stuff, and it's a dry county where you can't buy liquor, but yet you can drink in the bars, which I've never understood. Georgia's the same way. County, I don't know about the rest of the state, but I buy liquor on a Sunday. You can't go to a liquor store. You can't go to a grocery store and get drunk as a skunk, which is just in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I went there, and literally, just like in Jacksonville, when I got off the plane, I was like, no. And the Jacksonville studio was in the ghetto. And I was just like, no. It's interesting how my life would be different if I had taken any one of those 3 jobs. I think I would have been a career TV guy at that point. And I think that's why I'm not a career TV guy, because I just wasn't willing. I just wasn't willing to do that whole just Jacksonville, Tyler, just pick up and have to do that. I mean, you look at all these people's, look at Maddie Jansen, who just left, and look at her resume, where she had to start. I think she was in Montana or someplace. Go ask Mike Hart. He was in Yuma and you're just bouncing around. I just couldn't see doing that. I don't know. But that's where we begin with the story of a 22-year-old who got pulled over because he didn't have his lights on in bad weather. And the reason he got indignant with the police officers, it wasn't, but it was extremely cloudy, and they stopped him for not having his lights on. And I don't know if these people are picking this up on videos or Instagram, but now every moron talks back to the cops and talks about my rights and I need a supervisor. And again, if you weren't with us at the top of the show, I am willing to bet that this kid didn't have a father growing up. Now, I don't know if this is an African-American thing, but most of my adult Black friends, male Black friends, have had this talk with their fathers and are now having this talk with their sons and grandsons. My father had it with me. My birthday is August 3rd. They were leaving town. As a matter of fact, my mother's birthday is just 3 days before mine. And my father called me in his room and said, "You're going to be driving by the time we get back into the country. And I want you to understand a couple of things. When the policeman comes to your window, make sure that your hands are on top of the steering wheel, not on the bottom, but on the top of the steering wheel so they can see your hands at all times. When they ask you for your registration and your insurance, proof of insurance, tell them that it's in the glove box and you're going to retrieve it. And then slowly reach in the glove box and hand them your papers. And if they tell you to get out of the car and stand on your head, get out of the car and stand on your head." Well, this cocky little 22-year-old is like, "No, I'm not getting out of the car. I'm not giving you my license, and I want a supervisor." Answer. So they break the window. So I'm categorically saying this kid created this situation, that you just comply. Here is, well, let me tell the story first, and then we'll hear from the sheriff in Jacksonville. So they break the window, and the first cop punches the kid in the face. Now, again, let me make it clear and plain. The kid is in the wrong. The kid could have absolutely diffused this thing. And then on top of that, well, let me get through. Let me do it sequentially. So the guy breaks the window, punches the kid in the face, drags him out of the car. They grab him by his dreadlocks, and they bounce his head off the cement about 3 times. The kid comes down with, we later find out, traumatic brain injury with some slight short-term memory loss, cognitive impairment, a concussion, and tooth fracture. They knocked out. I don't understand why sheriff deputies have to take it to. Why did they have to punch him in the face? How does that get him out of the car, get him into the bracelets? Why did they have to grab him by the head? And all you got to do is Google Jacksonville police versus 22-year-old Black man. And I'm sure the video will come up where he was videotaping, and obviously they've released the body cam. But why in the world would they have to grab him by the hair and bounce his head off the cement? How does that get him in cuffs quicker? And you want to know how stupid this 22-year-old kid was? Then we later find out that the kid was driving with a suspended license. He had no seatbelt on. How do you not put on a seatbelt in 2025? You're just begging a police officer to stop you. Now, why is it a big deal that he's alluring the cops to stop him? He had a couple of grams of weed on him. He had less than 20 grams of weed on him. So you're driving around without a license that's legitimate. You don't have your seatbelt on. and you got weed in the car, and you've got the chutzpah to talk smack to a police officer? There's about 70% of me that want to say, you know, you moron, you got what you freaking deserved. You got weed in the car and you're riding around without a seatbelt. Oh, and by the way, you don't have a legitimate license. But I'm sorry, I can't say that he deserved to get punched in the face, that he deserved to have his head bounced off the cement. I just don't understand it. And the only conclusion that I can come up with is that I truly believe that cops love that. That's the excitement of the gig. It's like being a reporter and not being able to get a breaking story. That's the excitement of journalism. I got it first. I got a great story to tell. If you're just doing features and you're just doing, you know, Molly found her puppy and so-and-so's giving money to Honor Flight, that's not the juice of being a reporter. The juice of being a reporter is covering a murder case or being the first one to say this or say that. And I think for some of these police officers, the joy is the confrontation. I don't think they enjoy getting shot at, but I think they absolutely love it when people get lippy and want to get an attitude and are stupid enough to talk back to the cops. If you have a teenage grandson or child, have the police discussion. Show your hands at all times. Tell them what you're doing if you move in the vehicle. And if they tell you to stick your arm up your butt, stick your arm up the freaking butt and tell your parents, and we can deal with it after the fact. But don't you ever get lippy with the police, or guess what? And imagine what life was like pre-body cams. If they're slamming this kid's head on the cement with a camera, imagine when it was all just the word of the cops. Quick time out. We head into the final hour of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere. Oh, I forgot the audio. I forgot TK. The audio. I'll do it when we come back.
Just so you know, it's the exchange between him and the reporter about the punch.
Oh, they brought up the punch?
Yeah. The reporter director says, was that necessary?
It just wasn't.
Yeah. So that's what the bite is.
About the punch?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Punch.
All right, cool.
We're
Thanks.
not necessarily defending it, but not saying that it's not,
Out of line? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. My heart, that you're really a part of me, and I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair never will go so well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, I know so well I've got you under my skin.
Attention, business owners. This is Jason Evans. I've spent the last 3.5 decades helping companies create serious business breakthroughs, and I want to help you like never before. I built a serious training program called
Bye. This guy knows anything. Everything, huh? Huh? And why isn't Oral in the HOF? It's inexplicable. Oral Hershiser is not in the Hall of Fame? I didn't know that.
It's an incredible gift. See if you agree. 3 ways to double sales in 12 months. Jason's training was this year alone. Jason had made my training alone as part of my sales growth by over 250%. I'm expecting I'll be doing close to $5 to $6 billion gross this year just off of his
I'm Bill Robbins. A reckless driver leads law enforcement on a high-speed chase that finally ends on Buck Owens Boulevard. Reports came in about a reckless driver in the area of Olive Drive and Coffee Road on Sunday. The driver is 40-year-old Fred White, according to the Bourbon County Sheriff.
Hey Siri, what was Bill Cosby's son's name?
The answer I found is Ennis.
Ennis.
Eventually surrendered at the intersection of Buck Owens Boulevard and Select Avenue. A man's body was pulled out of the Kern River over the weekend. He was located near the Hobo campground at around 10 o'clock Saturday morning. No details have been released as to how he got there. The Kern County Coroner's Office is working to identify him. Officials are stressing caution because of those conditions, especially during the summertime. High-speed chase leads to the arrest of a 19-year-old man by a Shafter police sergeant on weapons charges just before 11:45 a.m. on Saturday. The sergeant was on routine patrol in the area of East Lerdo Highway and saw a vehicle fail to stop for a traffic signal. The driver sped away, reaching speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour, heading east on Lerdo Highway until becoming disabled in a dirt field. John Troy Pacey Spell tried to run away but was quickly caught. He reportedly had an AR-15 rifle and ammunition. His bail has been set at $130,000. A crash between a box truck and a semi caused all northbound lanes of I-5 to be temporarily closed over the weekend. It was reported a little before 4:30 Saturday afternoon, just south of the Interstate 5 escape ramp. One person was seriously hurt. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This is the Army. We need a mile away. You gotta get a post like this. Little thing, you throw that brains all over your nice side leaves.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you keep the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I need it.
Calling or text 842 KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 22nd day of July. It is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. We'll dig into the Department of Justice wanting to talk with Ghislaine Maxwell finally. Delve into that, talk a little sports at the bottom of the hour. And I've got some random thoughts, including this one. You know, I was thinking like last night, because I am often comparing life to fiction and fiction to life. Isn't it a bizarre coincidence? Because remember, this is the coincidence. And this is what I base the coincidence on. What you have to understand is Cosby created the mold for comedy programs that we now see in Ray Romano and even Seinfeld, where the Cosby Show was based on Cosby's comedy. Cosby's comedy was based on his family, where he would talk about his son and his 3 daughters. And that's what the show was based on. And it was exactly formulated. Theo was exactly the age of Ennis Cosby, and the other girls were of the same age. He had 3 older daughters. He had 4 daughters, I should say. 3 older daughters, the boy Ennis, and then a younger daughter. And I think 2 of them, at least, I know at least one of them, but I think 2 of them went to Spelman, and Ennis graduated from Morehouse. And isn't it a crazy coincidence that the Cosby family lost their only son, Ennis, who was shot, I think he was on the 405 and he pulled over. A woman had a flat tire, and a crazy Russian shot him in the back of the head as he was changing the woman's tire. And of course, since he was Cosby's kid, there was an investigation, and they The media tried to tie it. There had to be something. He owed this guy money, or he's a drug dealer or something. And it was just completely unrelated. He was just a psycho who just pulled up and saw this black kid changing a tire, shot him in the back of the head. And the Huxtable family lost their only son. Isn't that crazy? Now, obviously, Malcolm Jamal Warner was much older. I think Ennis was in his 20s or maybe early 30s when he was shot, killed. But isn't that just a crazy coincidence that the show was based on real life? And in real life, at least the character of Cosby's only son died, just like in real life, Cosby's only son died. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that's a weird coincidence, but I thought it was. Who you got on the telephone, Mr. Burdick? Brett, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. Great, Brett. How are you? Yeah. Really?
But out of JJ, he was like 12, 13. He was out of juvenile hall for rape. So I go, they were pointing at me, yeah, that's just got out for rape. But I was like, that was unheard of. It was wild. But he was the kind that he shook hands after the game. He was sock one of the players that,
Really?
Yeah, so later on, he went to South High. And back then, I said the early 90s, late 80s, they had like what's close to real games. They called it the white t-shirt game.
Yeah.
White t-shirts hung out and started fights all the time. And I heard that this guy was terrorizing neighbors. That was that guy personified, terrorizing people and stuff like that. In fact, my son was like a couple of years younger, I think, and him and he got jumped by those guys and stuff, so and just going and taking that guy to court, as an adult and all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
terrible things to young ladies, when it was unheard of those days.
That makes sense, because this doesn't just pop up in your life. And apparently he was a classmate of Gabriela Rodriguez, of the victim. He was 50. He was 50. Yeah. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, that's great information. Appreciate it. All right, man. Take care. 842-5376, 842-KER. Is anybody surprised by that? Because these things, it's who you are. It really is. For you to do something like that, that's not, some fluky situation where you just snap. It's who you are. I think that's why so many people are interested in the Scrivener thing. Because there's a belief, at least in my head, that this guy's been living a double life. Maybe the divorce helped speed up what was ever going on with Zach. But people that do dramatic things like this, it just doesn't pop up. It's who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why everyone is so interested to want to lift up the rock and see who was Zach Scrivener. What was going on in this guy's life? Everybody gets divorced. Half the country gets divorced. It's rare that a divorce is what makes someone snap. I think it's deep inside of you and it's who you are, and it eventually comes out. It really does. Who else you got? Sean, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. Good, Sean. How are you?
Florida police.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I know that when I was growing up, my dad was constantly in and out. So my mother really didn't explain what you explained about the
Damn right.
And during your commercial break, I did reference with YouTube. I did watch the video, and I will be 100% honest with you, sir. Whether you're a listener, you agree with me, disagree, or disagree, I agree with the officer's action. This dude was just totally erratic. He didn't comply with the officer. He shut the door. That alone would make officers really, really wary. And I did hear the officer issue several polite warnings to him to open the door. He said no. He got a little bit loudmouth with him. And that type of behavior, because I've been frisked up before, sir, when we react to them, when we react negatively, then they react 10 times to negatively. So I think this young black man, if anything that he learned from this, is to be polite. So, it's to comply with officers.
Well, I think I said that, but I still don't believe, and we'll hear from TK Carter, the sheriff, when I get off the phone with you, but I still don't believe that the punch was necessary. What does the punch do? How does that get him in handcuffs? How does that get him detained? The punch was not necessary. Was the grabbing his head and slamming it on the cement necessary? Did that help him subdue the man? I just don't think so. But you're right. I think I categorically said that this kid created the situation. And again, I don't know where it's coming from. And it's rampant. I watch these videos every single night, these confrontations with police where people are like, I know my rights. I want a supervisor. No, I'm not giving you my ID. And I'm just watching this in absolute befuddlement. Like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? These people have tasers, they have pepper spray, they have guns, they have billy clubs, and you're gonna get smart and lippy with these guys? You are asking for it when you do that. But I still don't think quickly. It's amazing the videos that I watch and watch people talk themselves into going to jail. Absolutely talk themselves into going to jail. And it's the most remarkable thing in the world. All right, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's the most common one that I watch is trespassing, where somebody will get into an argument with a bartender. The manager will come over and say, you've got to leave. I've told you the story. I got bounced out of Logan's. Remember old Logan's, the steakhouse right here around the corner from us? Some guy was bugging me and wanted to fight me. I called the manager over. I said, could you get this guy out of here? I don't know what it was. He was sitting on the end of the bar and he came down and he said something about me looking at him strange and boop, boop, boop. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are. And he's like, I'm going to kick your ass. Let's go. Let's step outside. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, could you call the manager, please? And the bartender went and got the manager and kicked him out and said, and I was like, thank you, God, and went back to eat. And he said, you've got to go as well. And I was like, excuse me? And he said, I'm sorry, the Logan company policy is if there's a confrontation, everyone involved has to leave. Now, if I was on one of these YouTube videos or Facebook videos, I would have got funky with them. They would have trespassed me. I would refuse to leave. The cops would come. They would tell me, leave, leave, leave. You should see these videos where they'll come and they'll tell this person, just leave. And then they finally give them, you've got two options at this point. You can walk out of here or you're going in cuffs. And these people will absolutely talk themselves into jail, where they give them that ultimatum, where all they got to do is walk out of the business, get in their damn car and get the hell out of Dodge. And they're like, but what? He's the one that did it. And they didn't give me my tab. Lady, I'm going to tell you this one more time. You either leave this complex or you're going to jail. I shouldn't have to leave. All right, turn around. And then the scuffle starts. I didn't do anything wrong. I know my rights. I want a supervisor. And I just sit there like, good God almighty. I've had a couple confrontations with the police, man, and I'm like, yes, sir, no, ma'am. Yeah, I've got my hands right. Yeah, I don't guess so. What? Stand on my head? Well, watch me. I'll get right on my head and stand. So incredibly stupid. Who else you got? Caleb, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And I'll explain why. The department's going to protect them. You wait. When we get off the phone with you, I'll play the sheriff down in Jacksonville, Florida, who said he's defending the punch. He's absolutely defending the punch. And I don't get it. But yeah, once you get lippy and you don't comply, these guys basically have carte blanche. They really do. I don't remember that, but that's horrible. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for the call. Here is, by the way, speaking of the devil, not Ennis Cosby, but here is the sheriff of Jacksonville, T.K. Waters. You see what I'm talking about? I don't know if you could hear the reporter, but the reporter asked, was yes or no, was the punch? Because remember, if you haven't seen the video, go to Jacksonville police versus 22-year-old black man. And he causes this. If they're asking you to get out of the car and you close the door, they're going to break your window. You can count on that as sure as you can count the sun coming up tomorrow. But after he breaks the window, he punches the kid with the right hand of the jaw. I just don't understand how that's justifiable. And then the reporter says, if a civilian did that, they'd be in handcuffs. And the sheriff in Jacksonville, Florida, has the audacity to say, not necessarily. And the reporter should have said, well, explain to me, like I'm a sixth grader, in what situation can a civilian break the glass of a vehicle and punch somebody in their car? Tell me when that's justifiable. Because I'm pretty sure that person's going away for assault. It's crazy. But like I said, once you don't comply, there's no sheriff in the 58 counties of California or any of the other counties in the nation that's not going to support their cops, support their deputies. Nobody, including Chad Bianco, who's running for governor. What? I don't think it was a racial thing. I know, I'm quick to go there, and I'm more than willing to point out when I think it is the complexion for the protection. But cops don't give a damn what color you are once you don't comply. Once they've opened the door or you've opened the door and they tell you to get out of the car and you close the door, hell's coming with them. You can count on that. They love breaking that window. And even at that point, the kid still sat in the car and was like, my hands are right here. And it's just like, why? And you're driving on a suspended license, so you know you're in trouble. You should be throwing yourself on their mercy. You should be, yes, sir, because I've got a suspended license. I got some weed in my center console. And what was the other thing was wrong with him? He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He's driving around Jacksonville without a seatbelt, with weed in his car and on a suspended license. I'm telling you, the more I run this over my head, the more I'm like, he deserved it. He absolutely deserved it. You couldn't be more stupid. It's one thing to run around with weed in your car. That's one thing. That's pretty damn stupid. It's another thing that's even more stupid to run around and ask the police to stop you by not wearing a seatbelt. You're basically putting your head out the window. Hey, stop me. Pull me over. Look at me. No belt, Mom. And then on top of that, you got weed in the car, you don't have a seatbelt on, and you have a suspended license. Please take me to jail, please. Somebody stop me! Stop me! Take me to jail! I gotta go to jail! But first, I'm gonna act a fool. Unbelievable. Quick time out. We'll check the board, see what you got talking about. Talk a little sports going into the back half of the hour. The Dodgers have a 1-game winning streak. Yeah, boy. 3.5-game lead on the stinky Padres. And of course, the only good part of the National League West is that the god-awful, stinky, smelly, dope-smoking, PD taking, got a little boogity in them, donkey-riding, orange and black-wearing Giants are now 7 games out. Despite us winning, 10 of 3 of the last 13 games? But here comes Manny Machado and those guys in those ugly brown uniforms. Quick break. We're coming right back on the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com. Best maker? $5.45.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus. Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need from family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1-year, no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 bucks less than 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Lost Elvis client, Vivian Rusty.
Hi, my name is Vivian Martin. I am a client of Paul Sheldon. They helped me get everything in order. I had no idea what I was doing. And they were wonderful. Staff is amazing. Then Kelly went out of their way and so comfortable and wonderful. Paul is very accommodating. Staff over there in the process.
How do we deal with the callers? Are we ever going to figure that out? Huh? They can't. Because you can hear them in the headset, right? Is that dead?
It can't be a headset though, because these are the ones Greg used to use.
No, but I mean, is the mic dead?
No. It's picking it up.
So then why can't they hear that? I don't understand
I
this.
don't either.
Where's did you put the mic?
It's inside the headset. Like it's pointed at a headset and everything.
That's weird.
Maybe we should side some of it.
Or the volume on the headset?
No, it's.
I'll just start repeating whatever the caller asks. I just got to remember to do that.
Figure it out.
Here we go.
Back to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Seems to me, girl, you know I done all I can. See, I beg, stole, and I borrow. Yeah. Ooh, that's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning. Yeah. That's why I'm easy. Is it like Sunday morning? Yeah. 812-537-6. Find the world when anybody put chains on me. God, they were good. Love the Commodores. Never saw them in concert as a kid, but they were really, really good. From Tuskegee, Alabama. Let's play. This was shortly before Malcolm Jamal Warren and his family went to Costa Rica. He's just a lovely guy. He really was. He's a really nice man. I hope he didn't perceive, just because I think they're overplaying his life and his legacy in television. The legacy in television were the executive producers and the ones that were willing to gamble on this show, because there were some of the producers that didn't think America was going to buy a show or believe in a show. And I mean, when I say buy a show where the father was a doctor and the mother was a lawyer, they just weren't going to buy that. Never seen anything like that. We've never seen an educated, affluent Black family before, where the daughter is going to Princeton and going to be a doctor herself, or a lawyer. I think the oldest daughter was going to be a lawyer, and never seen anything like that before on television. Never, ever, ever. The other groundbreaking thing Cosby was involved in as well in the early 60s when it was on I Spy with Robert Culp, where Cosby plays Culp's trainer, and Culp is allegedly a tennis player, and they're actually CIA agents. Great, great series with Sheldon Leonard. It's the first intelligent Black character on TV. Why in the world would anybody put chains on me? You know, I begged, stole, and I borrowed. Yeah. Woo. That's why I'm easy. Okay, come on. And I got a hot mic, so be cool. You got to do me a favor, though. Come on, you got to do this for me.
Yes, Ralph.
Oh, would you stop? You got to do me this favor, though. Come on, I got you hooked on Love After Lockup. So now
I'm
go.
not watching that. No.
Love and Hip Hop.
No, it's too
Come
fake. I saw the
on.
previews.
It's
fake.
not fake,
Yes,
dude.
it is not real.
He had a baby with that girl.
It looks too scripted, dude. It really does.
Well, I think
more so than Love After Lockup.
Because that you can't. You're leaving with these low-level idiots. So you can't.
They're going to mess up on their own.
Right.
This way, it just looks so scripted.
I think a lot of the drama is created,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of it isn't. I think a lot of it So silly.
survival gear along with emergency food, water filtration, backup power, essential tools. Grid Doctor delivers 3,300 watts of power, enough to run your fridge, CPAP, power tools, and more. It's whisper quiet, gas-free, and completely off-grid. When the next power outage hits, be glad you planned ahead. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/radio. That's mypatriotsupply.com/radio. Grab the Christmas in July bundle while it lasts. Blackouts are coming. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/radio. Get prepared today.
You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox. News Talk 96.1, AM 1180 KERN.
It was kind of cool how they changed the beginning of the show each year. I think it started with Cosby in a tuxedo, and the girls would come out, all the characters would come out and dance with him. And then, every show jumps the shark at some point. And after about 6 or 7 years, when everybody was like 35 years old playing 20-year-olds, I'm exaggerating, but they played the one where I think that's the music where was there video with that? Are they in the Caribbean attire? Regular clothes? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, at the end of the show, they went into a Caribbean thing, and it was just kind of crazy. But that was a groundbreaking show. It really, really was. It was must-see TV. At one point, they had 60 million viewers, which was about a quarter of the country. And if you know anything about television and television ratings, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. It really was. And I think the reason that it was successful was because of Dr. Cosby, primarily, and the writing staff that they had on there. Like I said, Tad Mumford was a very famous writer. Jay Sandridge, who was a very, very well-known and respected TV director. He began on the Andy Griffith Show, and I talked about this at the top of the show, but I forgot. He was the longtime director on Mary Tyler Moore, and just an absolute genius. His son played first base for us. The Sandridge kids were a little bit older than us, but one of the Sandridge kids dated my best friend's older sister. I forget what his name was, but he was dating Debbie Skelly's older daughter. And Jay Sanders was an absolute genius. And the executive producers who had the guts to go with this show that a lot of people in NBC told them they'll never buy this. They'll never buy this. A black doctor with a black wife lawyer, never believe it. Never believe it. And, that's all I grew up with. Every one of my father's friends was a physician. That life I knew, I lived. And yet Americans couldn't believe that. And I see why. When I moved to Bakersfield, I found out why. Because I grew up in an affluent black neighborhood, Ladera Heights, California. We moved when I was in 11th grade, but it was similar to Baldwin Hills, another affluent black neighborhood. And then I moved here in 1992 and found out that there are communities in California where there are no affluent black neighborhoods. None. Doesn't exist here. And you go to Ladera Heights, California right now, right off of Slauson Boulevard, and I bet it's probably come down now, but I bet Ladera Heights is probably about 70% black. And every family, unless there's been widow situation or divorce situation, other than that, every house has a 2-parent family. The lawns are manicured, beautiful homes. You know who lived there before he died? Tito Jackson lived in Ladera. Rick Fox and Vanessa Williams while they were married lived in Ladera Heights. When we lived there, 6141 Bedford Avenue. Ooh, I hope I didn't give out one of my codes, one of my passwords. But 6141 Bedford, two houses down were Kyle and Kim Townsend, who I grew up with. Their dad was Ron Townsend, and and this is a horrible way to describe him, because he was a beautiful man. He really, really was. Because most of our friends' parents were annoyed by us. We had this little gang. It was me, Brian Williams, Tony Flournoy, Kim and Kyle Townsend. That was our little gang. And we terrorized the neighborhood, especially when I got my go-kart when I was 13. Oh, we were pains in the butt. And we lived at the base of a hill. So we would steal our sister's big wheels and take the back off the big wheels and treat them like a scooter and get at the top of the hill, dude, and rev that thing up with your foot and come flying down. And I'm telling you, dude, coming down the sidewalk, you are flying. And finally, and the parents hated it, thought we were terrorizing, because exactly what they're afraid of is what put the kibosh on it. What do you think happened? One of the neighbors was backing out of their driveway and hit Brian, clipped him. And that's why they would come to our houses and they would say, your children are doing this and they're going to get hit. And my father would be like, Ralph, knock it off. Hey, you're 14 years old riding your sister's big wheel. Don't you have anything better to do? You can't play basketball or over the line or tag football. No, you're on your sister's big wheel flying down the damn street. And I'd be like, yeah, but Pop, it's fun. He can just shake his head. So we terrorized the neighborhood. But I get here and that just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. So I guess that's when I began to understand how middle America could not buy that there are African Americans who are middle to upper class. They've never seen it. Never seen it. Never seen a black neighborhood that isn't the ghetto. Never seen it. Don't know that experience. Don't know what that's like. So I guess I understand. Although I'm lying. I've never understood it. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Yoshinobu Yamamoto takes the bump tonight, so says Mike Big Dog Barrett. By the way, belated happy birthday to Big Dog. Just got back from Vegas. Saw some pictures on Facebook. He was down at Hugo's in Four Queens having dinner. You know, youth is wasted on the young. Jessica, former bartender at Casey Steakhouse, has ruined my memories of Hugo's, because I turn everybody on to Hugo's. I suggest you go by there. It's a great restaurant. I almost went there the last time I was in Vegas, and I looked at the menu, a little pricey. When you're on your own, I was like, no, I'm not spending $70 on an entree, and I haven't even had a drink yet, and I'm $70 in. So I was like, no, I'll pass. But it's a great restaurant. Everybody, the Valprados go there. Gino goes there. Zucchini and Mike and I went there last time we were in Vegas together. Everybody I know goes to Hugo's. I turned Jessica on, who's about your age, and she's like, it was horrible. And I was like, what? Hugo's? You went to the Four Queens where you went down the steps? It was horrible. I ordered the duck. It was terrible. And I was just like, Pop was right. Youth is wasted on the young. I have no idea. She said that the duck was dry and it was just awful and blah, 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 blah. I love Hugo's. You know, the best part of Hugo's is their salad. They come out, they give you a basic salad, and then they come out with this like circular tray, vast array of different things. Chopped up boiled eggs on my salad. Ooh, little bay shrimp on my salad. What's that? Anchovies. Negative. What is that? Bacon bits. Okay. It's just, the salad is unbelievable. The things they have and the circular thing they bring out. I think it's one of the best restaurants in Las Vegas. It really is. That's the new thing about Vegas. One of the biggest attractions now is eating. And my prediction has come true. Vegas is in trouble. The Canadians are all pissed at us. Thank you, DJT. And so there's a big chunk. They got a lot of Canadians coming in, and they ain't coming. They ain't coming. And Vegas was starting to read its own press clippings. You know what I'm saying? Because it was the adult Disneyland, basically. And they started trying to not adhere to basically bring in high rollers. And so they upped the prices for everything. It's $50 to park your car now and things like that. And the tourism went down. Well, now, just like a lot of fast food joints, you've seen all the deals that fast food joints are doing now. All these restaurants are now realizing think times are hard and friends are few, and they are offering all these 2-for-1s and this and this and that and this and that. And finally, Vegas is catching up and starting to go back because that really used to be the attraction. It's why I go there all the time. It's the cheapest getaway vacation I can afford, where I can go and like the package I had when I was going to go on my birthday Sunday to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, till Wednesday, come back Thursday. And my travel agent ran Dizzle down the hallway, got me a package, flight out of Burbank on Delta Airlines, round trip, and 4 nights at do you remember where he booked me? I think it was the 4 Queens. And the whole thing cost me less than $500. Airfare and 4 nights at the 4 Queens. It was like $450. You can't beat that. You cannot beat that. Now, of course, I was going to lose $1,000. I'm such a punk. I should have gone. For those that didn't hear me when I got back from Vegas a couple of months ago, I won. I mean, not like one night, everything I touched. Everything I touched. I won 3 or 4 sports bets. I won 2 out of the 3 nights I played poker. I won $165 the first night. And the only reason I didn't win more is because I was meeting Gerard Romalo, a friend of mine, for dinner. And the next night, on a young woman who lives like blocks from me and made a big deal about me being at the table. It's kind of funny. It was her birthday. And we're just talking, and I heard her mention Tehachapi. And I asked her, "Are you from Bakersfield by any chance?" And she said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Why? Are you from?" I said, "Yes, I'm from Bakersfield as well." And she saw I was wearing a Klein Dinatelli cap. I wore it the other day. And she kind of looked at my cap and kind of put 2 and 2 together. And she was like, "You're Ralph Bailey, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And then it got embarrassing. She was like, "Gentlemen, we're playing with a local celebrity." And they all looked at me like, "Please." And I was like, "I'm not. I do a radio show. I'm known. A lot of people know who I am. That don't make you a celebrity. It really doesn't." But I won another like $80 that night, and then lost $100 in 45 minutes the third night. Did not win one hand. Did not win one hand in 45 minutes. And then sat down at the blackjack table and took $150. So I just know there's no way you can go to Vegas back to back and come home with their money. But I should have challenged it. I'm such a punk. And I'm flush as hell right now. I don't know. Well, I know why. Because for 2 weeks, I didn't do anything but not leave my house. Never played golf. I was barely eating. So I'm flush as all get out. Here's a question before we go to the final break. I told you how Nick and Olivia, my neighbors, got married. Yeah, no, they got married. Yeah, they're married. I got to give them a wedding present, don't I? You think they invited my old behind? They've been my neighbors for like 7 years. A toaster oven. I didn't say I was getting them something extravagant, but I should get them something, shouldn't I? I barely see them. They park in the back, so they don't cross when I'm playing Mrs. Kravitz, Nosy Neighbor. They don't cross through the front of the house, front of the apartment complex. So I very rarely see them. They invite me up every now and then, and I'm like, oh, I'm too old. I'm too old to hang out with you kids. But if you know Nick and Olivia, wish them a happy congratulations on their wedding. But yeah, I got to give them a gift. I'll give them something. And my mom's birthday's coming up, so I'm going to try to get her something really, really nice. She turns 83 at the end of the month, July 31st. And 3 days later, she gave birth to Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr. Can you imagine being 20 years old on your 20th birthday and you're pregnant as all get out? She's a badass woman. She really is. And she's hanging in there at 83. Final break of the night. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. Our former federal agent Howard Marcus will be with us. Yes. Hell, I got that in my pocket. That's not a bad idea. In fact, I think Jen Bowden, well, let me shut up. April, May, June. Yeah, I think they owe me one, as a matter of fact. But that's not a bad idea. In fact, that's a brilliant idea. Thanks for the suggestion. What should I give, Luigi's or KC? Up the street, 200 yards. I tell you, one day, I know I can't do it ever, but God, I want to go in my front yard and hit a drive and see if I can carry it all the way to KC Steakhouse. Because I think I could, I know I could get it past the Pep Boys parking lot. I think I could fly it into her parking lot. I really do. I think I could take a, I don't know, you know where I live. How many yards is that, do you think? About 200 yards? Yeah, I think my 5 wood. I think I could clear it with a 5 wood pretty easily. But we'll never know because I ain't paying for somebody's car and going to jail. Are you kidding me? Final break of the night. Charlie Kirk's at the top of the hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. In the meantime, wrapping this thing up on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Oh, is this Messmaker? Messmaker?
Immigration reform, a bill has been offered, and it looks like amnesty, and nobody's going to like it. I think I've just given up on that. We're going up on the 80th anniversary of us dropping the bomb on Japan. Was that a good idea or evil idea? More debate heading into that anniversary. Next, Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays, noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN.
Hope you're with us on Thursday when our money man, Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. And as I talk about each and every day, Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, located right on the corner of 21st and Oak, are all about retirement, getting beyond your 401k and Social Security and storing a little dough away for the fourth quarter of your life. And I know I'm in it. I know I'm on the back nine. That's why I became a client about 7 years ago. And as I always remind you guys, it is the single smartest financial move I have ever made. Call Daniel Petrie today at 395-9400, 395-9400. And again, they're located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. And he joins us every Thursday at 4:30. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker, Petrie Wealth Advisors.
Yes, 25 pounds lighter and still keeping the weight off. I swear, everyone else how did I do it? JR, are you doing those GLP-1s? Are you taking the shots, the injections? What's going on? Heck no, I would never take injections or drugs to lose weight, ever. That's why I love Bakersfield Weight Loss. It's all natural. Not only that, they've taught me how to reset my metabolism. That's why
Say what? Yeah. Three, two. I still don't the kid in the face but he deserved it. Running around Jacksonville without a seatbelt and weed in the car and wanting to see us using the ID, yeah, you almost have to say this kid deserved it, but I just can't go there. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, if it's a Wednesday, our former federal agent Howard Marcus joins us, and Fernando Rodriguez Hara is expected to appear in court on Friday. We'll go over that case with you as well. All that, me at 3. It's TRBS right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3. Brrr. Eight 842-5376, 842 KERN. What do you got on the board? Out at North Kern? Yeah. That's what she was doing home in the middle of the afternoon. And if you weren't with us earlier in the broadcast, KGT17 spoke with her son, Nathan, who insisted that Derek Williams, who allegedly killed his mother, was targeting Nathan, the boy, the 22-year-old, and apparently just ran into Gabriella and took her life, allegedly. And then we had another caller in whose sons grew up with Mr. Williams, and he insisted that he's been a terror his whole life. Even as a kid, he said that they'd go to shake hands and he'd punch one of the opponents, and he's just been a menace his whole life. And they interviewed, 17 interviewed folks in the neighborhood who said he was always going off and cursing people out and screaming that you're going to go to hell and you need Jesus and all this. And then I suggested, when this happens in your neighborhood, call the police. And another caller called in and insisted that they, in fact, did call the police 4 different times on this guy. And I think that's why we have to start bringing in mental physicians and people that can deal with mental health issues. Because I think that with men, and I don't know if this is our fault, my generation's fault, but we have lost like at least 2 or 3 generations of young boys like Mr. Williams, who with the right direction, mentor, I don't know, or just I could have been put in a different direction, or just needed psychiatric help. And it's evincing itself in young people committing murders and shooting up schools, and we just lost these kids. And even Barack Obama talked about it the other day. And it's kind of hypocritical of Obama to discuss this after he lectured black men that they weren't ready for a black woman as president, and just taking for granted that these guys weren't smart enough to realize, oh, we're ready for a black woman. We're just not ready for Kamala Harris. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke. Is that 2 minutes or 2 seconds? Well, one more text message. Let's get out of here. My Uncle Irvin, thank you for that. My Uncle Irvin is, if Dad would be 83, my Uncle Charles is 88, then that means my Uncle Irvin is 79. And that's why I always say, whenever I reference my dad's death, that it has to be that he was a workaholic, because he didn't drink. He drank a little champagne on occasion. He did not smoke, and he's dead at 56. And yet his older brother outlives him by more than 30 years. And his younger brother outlives him 676 by 25 years. How's that possible? That should not happen. My father, if you did not know, was an anesthesiologist, which is one of the most, if something's going to go wrong in an operation, it's going to be the anesthesia. That's why anesthesiologists have the highest malpractice insurance. They're the most often sued. And they also have, ooh, this is Gooby, I got to get my hair cut. Yeah, after your show. Outstanding. Getting my hair cut on Thursday. Outstanding. But yeah, that's why they have the highest malpractice rate and the highest suicide rate among all physicians. Want to thank Teresa Goldner for joining us as usual. Again, tomorrow's Wednesday. Howard Marcus will be with us. We'll preview the preliminary hearing, or what we expect will be the setting of a preliminary hearing on Friday with Fernando Jara. And I'm sure the Epstein case will be in the news tomorrow as well. We'll update you on that. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will wrap to you tomorrow.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Los Angeles Times is going public.
Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, the billionaire owner of the Los Angeles Times since 2018, says he intends to take the newspaper public. During an interview on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Soon-Shiong says the newspaper would allow the Times to democratize and allow the public to have ownership of the paper. Like much of the media industry, the Times has faced financial difficulties. No word yet on whether the deal would involve an initial public offer to sell shares of the company or another investment arrangement. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Mike Collins released a video on Monday teasing a potential Senate running Georgia against Senator John Ossoff, making him the latest Republican to consider taking on the first-term senator. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
The 15-second video incorporates sound bites from news clips discussing the Georgia Senate race and Ossoff. At one point, text across the video reads, "Who can beat John Ossoff?" The video touts Collins' ties to the president, and it includes a clip of President Trump saying Collins' name at an event and a photo of Collins and his wife